One, two, three.
Hey.
Hey, everything is okay with the audio?
Yes, yes, yes. I can't. Uh, uh, okay.
Yeah,
Let
okay.
me. Yeah. Oh, here it is. Okay. Yes. Hi.
Hey, sorry for the mess, but when you have two small kids, your
Of
phone is
course.
like a
Of
one
course.
colorful mess.
Of course. Of course. Hi.
Hey, so let's start with the fact that from what I've read, you spent a large part of your life in the Sinai desert with the Bedouins. So tell us about this chapter of your life. How did it start and what did you learn from them, from this life?
I didn't, it wasn't a large part of my life, but I was born in Jerusalem and I was able to visit the Sinai several times when I was a young kid and a teenager. And then in my 20s, I went back every year for many years, and I'm still going back. So I didn't really spend a chunk of time there, but I would spend like a month in the summers or longer. And I kind of, met up with a Bedouin family in the high mountains of the Sinai, and we kind of grew up together. We met when we were in our 20s. Now they have kids and everything. And it was really profound experience for me. I feel like it's the most powerful place in the world that I've ever been at. And it's the inspiration for all my songs for Ruby Ate the Fig. We spent a lot of times in the high mountains, walking, gardening, getting water from the well, harvesting, listening to songs, listening to stories, and sleeping in stone buildings. And it's just very powerful. It's a very sacred place for me, the desert.
And how about the Bedouin culture? Is it safe because Akbar, the Mesopotamian swamps were destroyed during the Saddam Hussein regime? And what about the culture of Bedouins? Is it okay with them?
Yes, it's okay. The Bedouins in the Sinai have been kind of neutral. Egypt is their country, even though the Sinai is kind of on its own. But Egypt is basically running the Sinai from the outside in. However, the Bedouins have tribes and they have leaders, and it was always very safe. There was a time where ISIS was in the Sinai, so I couldn't go. So there was a couple of years back then where I couldn't go because of what they destroyed all that stuff. So even though I would call my brothers on the phone and they say, "No, it's fine," but I didn't want to take the chance. So.
And you're turning your experiences into music. So when did the idea for Ruby Eidefik come about?
When I was in the Sinai. So I've always been a musician. I played classical guitar. I studied classical composition. I played gamelan music from Indonesia. And it was early on when I wrote my first song when I was 8. So I've always wanted to write songs, and I started writing. And I studied with a classical composer who was wonderful here in New Mexico, just brilliant. And he told me two things. He said, write who you are. If you're from the city, write about the city. If you're from the farm, write about the farm. And I'm from the Middle East, but I grew up on rock and roll in America. And so I decided this kind of fusion came to being. I was studying Middle Eastern music, Middle Eastern percussion with Palia Tapia Ferber, who plays in the band with me now, my teacher. And I just started writing this kind of fusion between Middle Eastern and rock. And in the Sinai is where I get most of the inspiration for my lyrics. There's several songs on the album Desert Electric that we just released where there's stories from based in the Sinai. The stories of the song are based on stories in the Sinai.
So you have a musical background. You went to musical school, right?
I actually I did go to music school, but I actually studied math and I have a math degree. But so but I took all these music classes. So yes, I do have a musical background. And mostly in ethnomusicology. Mostly I studied Indian music from India, gamelan music from Indonesia, um, a little bit of classical music, but it wasn't my thing. So, and then of course Middle Eastern music.
And where did the name for this band come from, and what does it mean?
So the name is a mystery. It's a surprise. So we used to tell people that during our concerts, we'd say, okay, if you whoever comes up with the good story, whoever comes up with the story of Ruby ate the fig, we'll give you a CD. So I say that now, and I should probably start that again and have people email in stories. So it's definitely related to Adam and Eve and the apple, and it's definitely has those tones, but we're keeping it mystery right now.
So, what's the most funny but false story behind this name?
Oh my God. We got amazing stories. God. Yeah, one person wrote this huge, long, it was epic. It was like a short novel all about Ruby and the fig, and it was happening the same time during Adam and Eve with the apple, but Ruby was in another garden with the fig and something else happened, and then we had stories of space aliens. Ruby ate the fig and then she became abducted by space aliens, and or she ate the fig and it was psychedelic and she went on a big trip. So yeah, we've got some good ones.
And there are two social medias profile, one with the Ruby from with the Y at the end.
Yes.
So
Yes.
why this name come about? Did people try to search the band with the Y at the end?
Yeah. Yeah. So ruby is a gemstone, a ruby, in English. And I like the spelling with the I because it's also like Rumi, who's also a huge inspiration for my music and my lyrics. Rumi, the Sufi poet. So I wanted Ruby with an I. But then so many people came to me and they said, we can't find you because they searched on the Y. So I snagged that name on social media and just redirect people to RUBI. Yeah.
And Ruby 8 the Fig has managed to bring together many exceptional musicians. How
Mhm.
did the collaboration with Mark Mann from Oingo Boingo and Electric Light Orchestra come about?
I met him through a mutual friend and we immediately connected. And Mark really helped bring me into America. I was writing, I was writing some of the songs that we have on the album Desert Electric, but it was kind of acoustic based, even though I had my electric guitar. But he really wonderfully, merged my sound and my vision, and brought it into full rock. And yes, he's with Oingo Boingo, and he played Concert for George, and he's pretty big and phenomenal musician. Phenomenal musician. He not only plays guitar on the album, he's produced and co-produced some of the songs and done a lot of orchestration and vocal arrangements. So Mark's very important for our band.
And your first full-length album is Desert Electric, and the first version, the original version, was released in 2022. However, before that, there was apparently an EP, Carries the Moon. So, what
Oh
could we
yeah.
find on it?
I'm sorry, so what?
What could we find on it? What songs were on the EP, Carries the Moon?
Caress the Moon. So it's great that you mentioned that. We had three songs: Caress the Moon, Scorpio, and Waiting for You. I pulled it off because I redid Caress the Moon, which is on Desert Electric. And I added Arabic strings and I totally did a new production of Caress the Moon. So I just didn't want them to compete. And in fact, we are releasing the video for Caress the Moon very soon, and it's just breathtaking for me. It's exquisite. It's just a beautiful video. And the song Caress the Moon is really about saying goodbye to somebody you love. We lost our oud player who was in the band, and I wrote that song for him. And I also wrote the song for my young cousin who killed himself. So it's kind of a, what do you say? How do you say goodbye? It's a grieving song. It's a release song, and it's very powerful, and it's definitely up there. as far as our material goes. People tend to like it.
And the EP that was released before the Desert Electric in before the 2022, was it like a limited edition? Like because like there's nothing about this release in over the internet.
You're a detective. You're a detective. Yes, I pulled that too. That was kind of a pre-EP. Yeah, it wasn't really a CD. It was an EP. There was a few songs on there that are now on Desert Electric. Again, I did production. We redid it. We remixed everything. We did a major production overhaul on those songs. So yeah. But there are some songs that were on there that I might release in the future on that last release. So the two prior releases kind of were soft releases. I'm going to take those songs, I'll revisit them, I'll do another production on them and a remix. So,
So were
yeah.
there any other releases before the Desert Electric, like a live EP, something like that?
Yes, there was actually there wasn't a release, but we did have a live EP that I put on CD Baby a while ago. And I think that's still out there, but at this point, I'm so focused on producing the highest quality music that I can. So that was a live thing. We just mixed it. It wasn't a great recording. So I could release that in the future as a live show, but hopefully we'll release other live shows that are better recorded.
And the song that caught the attention of fans of slightly heavier sounds was The Tent. So why did it take so long to finish this composition? Because you started writing it when you were in your 20s.
No, I didn't write The Tent when I was in my 20s.
I found this information like in one of the like press releases.
No, 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 no. I wrote The Tent like 3 years ago. Yeah. Oh, oh, okay. Yes. The story of the tent is a very heavy, deep story. It's about a soldier that's massacring everyone and, conquering and burning. And finally, he gets defeated one day. He had bronze, and the other tribes only had stones. And he got defeated one day, and he ran to a tent in the middle of the desert. And there's a woman who's living there, and he asked if he could come in. And she said, yes, you can come in. And historically, the story is he asked for water to drink, but she gave him milk. So we're assuming that, they were lovers. And then she knew he was a bad person. So she took a tent stake and nailed it through his head. That's the story of the tent. It's based on a historic story, and there's lots of paintings about it. This woman, and her name is Yael, and she became a hero of the Israelites. So the 20s. So I did attempt to write a song about that story in my 20s, for sure. And I couldn't, I couldn't write it. I wasn't mature enough. So I had to wait until a few years ago. I feel like I'm more of a woman than in my 20s. And I feel like I could really do justice for that song lyrically and musically. So yeah. So I have a early sketch version of the tent in my 20s, but that's funny that you heard that. You saw that, yeah. But the tent I really wrote in the last couple of years, and it did take a long time. It was a very difficult song to write because I only had so much real estate to tell this amazing story, as songwriting only have a few lines to tell this big story. And I'm very happy with it. Ali's on the kanun, which is the plucked zither. And his lines are beautiful, and Mark Mann orchestrated Ali's lines. And it's great musicianship. I'm thrilled with the tent. And it is my rock song. It is the rockiest song on the
And
album.
there are comparisons to Led Zeppelin, to Kashmir.
Huge compliment. Yeah. Huge compliment. And the song I'm working, Caress the Moon, someone said to me too. He said, Caress the Moon is like Kashmir from someone who's from there. So if you listen to Caress the Moon with the strings and the Arabic percussion, yeah, Kashmir. And then someone else said, we're like Kashmir rock. And I said, well, that's great because, of course, I love Led Zeppelin and Kashmir.
Yeah, you describe your music as a Mahavishnu Orchestra and Led Zeppelin traveling through the desert, stopping to have a tea with Grace Slick. But I found the original quote, and the original
Yes,
quote was was with the police.
it was the police. That's right. God, look at
So,
you.
so
So
you don't like anymore the police?
no, I love the police, but we only have one song on the album called Your Story, which is about addiction, and it's very policey. If you listen to Your Story on Desert Electric, it's, the vamp, the rhythm and everything is very policey. And then I found that all my other songs were really more like Led Zeppelin than Police. So we changed the quote. And you're amazing. I'm telling you, you need to be a detective. Is that what you do on your day job? Are you in
I'm,
intelligence? You've
uh,
got to be. You know more about my band than I do.
and there was also one song on the Desert Electric that resembles Patti Smith. I don't remember if this was what was this song. Maybe it was the song you mentioned.
Your story?
Yeah.
No, I don't see Patti Smith in there. Maybe in the garden. No, I
No,
don't
no,
see
no.
Patti Smith. Yeah, yeah. My influences musically were Grace Slick for sure. Mahavishnu Orchestra are just like, to me, the ultimate rock band. And Led
Oh,
Zeppelin.
it was Salon.
Salome. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And Salome's not on this album. Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
Salome's another little like pop rock song, like new wave. I'll bring Salome back to the next album. So when we did Desert Electric, we pulled songs from the earlier release and then put in with new songs. But yeah, Salome. Salome's definitely, it's also like Oingo Boingo a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and after this 1.0 version of Desert Electric, two standalone singles were released, and the first was In the Garden. So, what is the story behind this composition?
In the Garden. Mm. So In the Garden is another song that I started years ago and couldn't finish because I hadn't matured as a writer. Um, In the Garden is based on a traditional Arabic rhythm called the chiftetel. If you listen to the song, you'll just hear the rhythm. And I've heard the rhythm for years and years and years, listening to Middle Eastern ensembles and listening to their improvisation. Um, and I always wanted to write a song to that rhythm, the Chiftateli. It was always sacred to me as well, like the Sinai sacred. And it was always sacred, this rhythm. So when I finally did write the song, it's all about how it's about two lovers, and it's about I surrender to you and you surrender to me, and we're in the garden and we surrender so free, like the tree surrenders to the breeze and the sand surrenders to the dune, and it's that kind of poetry, kind of like Rumi. Yeah, so it's a love song and it's based on two lovers in the garden. So yeah, and we have a video for that too, that's on our YouTube channel and on our website.
And the first song that I heard from Ruby Eighty was Gilgamesh. So, what can you say about this song? Because subject may be Sumerian, but I hear the rhythm characteristic for traditional Jewish songs.
Yeah. So the rhythm's actually characteristic for traditional Arabic songs, not necessarily Jewish songs. It's a bellady rhythm. It's a real, probably the most common Arabic rhythm. And I wrote that in the Sinai. And it really has nothing to do with Gilgamesh itself, the story. I had just seen an exhibit in Jerusalem in the museum about these Gilgamesh, all the tablets and everything like that. And then I literally saw all the Gilgamesh story and the tablets, and then went to the Sinai and just trekked around for a while. So the song came in. A lot of the lyrics came from my conversations with the Bedouins, like, no many people come, the mountains take away the wind. I'm just talking to people. I'm like, whoa, whoa. So I'm pulling in the way they say things. But the thing about Gilgamesh is the chorus says, if you want to be inside of you, I'll close the light. If you want to be in secrecy, I'll bless your back. If you want to be riding on a camel to the moon, I'll pack your bag for you. But if you want to be in love with me, then follow sacredly. So when I wrote this song, I thought it was a song between two lovers, you know, saying, if you want to be in love with me, then follow sacredly. And then I realized that it was really a song from the desert to me. If you want to be in love with me, then follow sacredly. So that's Gilgamesh.
And in order to get the press interested in this single, in the single Gilgamesh, you created like a package of hits, like a mini best of that was sent
Yeah.
to the press. So were you
Yeah.
afraid that a single track would get lost in the flood of emails and promo singles?
No, no. I mean, it's interesting to see how people respond to the different songs. I've gotten lots of comments, just really wonderful. I've gotten comments saying, "Thank you so much for your album. It's my favorite album of the year." And believe me, I get, 500 albums a week, or I get 500 albums a month. And I've actually listened to your whole album instead of 5 seconds of each. And I'm really loving it. And I'm like, thank you. People that review the album, people that are interviewing me. So, no, and it's interesting to see, what people gravitate to, which songs. So,
And in 2025, Desert Electric was like reissued, reinvented. So where did this desire to revisit this material come from?
and that's a great question. When I had done the previous release a few years earlier, it was kind of rushed because we were going on tour, so I wanted to have something. And after the tour, I realized, you know what, it's not my best. I would like to bring in my better songs. I'd like to bring in better production and, just basically better production. So that's when I decided. I said, I really want this to be my masterpiece, that I've been working on for years. So that's why I decided to do that.
And what has changed on this album compared to the original version? Did you add some instrument? Did you rewrote some of the songs?
Yes, I did. So basically, what's on this album is really what I want to say. Like, okay, this is it. This is me. This is the band. This is my writing. So there are a few songs from the original release on Desert Electric, but they were all remixed. Every single one of them was remixed and reproduced. I'm just like, okay, let's get rid of this. Let's clean it up. And then I added new songs that were new, as well as older songs that I didn't have time to release on that previous version.
And the studio belonging to your producer, to Rich Mauser, burned during the LA fires. So did you lose like some of the material from the Desert Electric?
No, thank God. Right. So that was a year ago, and we were supposed to release Desert Electric a year ago in February. And I had just left the studio and we had our final mixes. And unfortunately, in the big Altadena fires, which the anniversary was just January 7th, Rich lost his whole studio, his whole house, and everything. It was really tragic. But thank God they're alive is the number one. And number two, he grabbed he grabbed the hard drives, which is thank God. He's like, I grabbed the hard drives, because I'm not his only client. He's big. He has a lot of really international clients. He grabbed the hard drive, he grabbed his computer, he grabbed some amps, he grabbed some microphones, and he landed on his feet. And we're actually working on a new song and a new album. I was just there last month, and I'm going out next month. And he set up it's not going to be his studio that he had totally fixed up for 30 years, but so what happened was we had a few more mixes for the album, and because his studio burnt down, we had to import all of the songs that were already done into his new system and remix and remaster, period. because the songs that we were finishing didn't sound like the songs we had finished in his studio. We couldn't create the sound of his studio. And I didn't want that on the album where one song sounded like this and one song sounded like this. So I said, okay, I just made the decision last spring when he finally got a new system. I said, let's bring all those songs in. We're going to remix them all. We're going to remaster them all to make them sound like a package. So that was it. And I'm so thrilled to say that they sound great. They sound fantastic because it's all about your ears, and Rich's ears are phenomenal. He's just a great engineer. Yeah.
And this new version of Desert Electric was promoted by a song you mentioned before, Your Story. So could you tell us about the origins of this song? Because from what I've read, it's about struggle with addiction.
Yes, your story I actually wrote to my composition teacher who was killing himself with addiction. And unfortunately, I've lost a lot of, not a lot, but several people to addiction, alcoholism, drugs, and suicide. So, what I wanted to say, your story is to the people, but it's also to the family members to say, look, all we can do is just love these people and tell them that we're here for them, but we can't make them stop. We can't save them. We can just be there and say, I'm here, I love you, I see you, and I won't take the blame. I won't take responsibility. You have to take responsibility, but I'm here for you. What can I do to help you? So that's what that song's about. Yeah. Yeah.
And you mentioned before that you're working on a second album. So what
Mhm.
can you tell us about the road that you're going to musically?
Okay, so and that's a great question because of course as an artist we're always evolving. Um I'm working on the second album. I'm working on a song that we had recorded before in Rich's studio that we're the drums sound so great. They sound like Led Zeppelin. And I'm writing new songs, of course, for the album, and I'm going to be bringing in other songs that we already did, but that we'll have to remix and reproduce and stuff like that. So, you know, I can't really say what direction the album's going to go into, and that's a great question. I think it's going to be continuing what we have. It's going to be Middle Eastern fusion plus straight ahead rock. But like this new song I'm working on right now called One Song, it's really straight ahead rock, but it has magnificent Arabic strings in it and a phenomenal, all of a sudden there's this huge rock song and then this phenomenal Arabic viola solo right in the middle. I'm just going for it. So I think what I could say about this direction is I'm just doing what I want. And I'm not thinking about, oh, what do you think will be popular or what do you think people will like? I'm just going for it. So I have this big rock song, and all of a sudden it just gets quiet, and there's this beautiful viola solo with just Arabic percussion, and which I might not have done before because it's not poppy.
And
So I'm just gonna do my own thing, basically.
are you planning to release it soon? This new
Yeah.
song?
Yeah, this new song. So we're going to release our video in a couple of weeks for Caress the Moon. I'm going to release Caress the Moon as a single. It's on the album, so it's already out there. I'm going to release Caress the Moon as a single in a couple of weeks, as well as the video. And then in a month or so, 2 months, I'll release this new song. Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
And what is the concert situation for Ruby the Fig? Because you used to play more or less regularly, and how does it look now?
The concert situation, we've played in the States and it was great, and we always got a wonderful response. Um, We're thinking of maybe getting booked in Europe. We would love to get booked in Europe, but it has to be sustainable. We have to be able to afford it. So at this point, we don't have anything. We're looking at festivals in Europe. We're looking, which needs to be booked right now. We're looking at festivals in the States, but doing the tour thing um, I decided that I'm putting all of our resources into recordings and videos as opposed to touring right now. So, but if we're able to tour and actually have it be sustainable, we would love it because there's nothing like playing with these people. And no matter how great our recordings are live, we're amazing. We just are. We're just smoking. And the players are phenomenal, and the solos are phenomenal, and the interplay is phenomenal. So, yeah. So, hopefully soon. But I can't say anything. I don't have anything to report on.
And this is all that I have prepared. So thank you very much for your time. And like for the ending, I would like to ask you to say some words to our readers, to maybe Polish fans, maybe invite them to look to the stars and listen to the desert wind.
Okay. Okay. Um, I'm inviting you to come into the world of Ruby Ate the Fig, which is the mystical desert with the rhythms and the wind and the sand and the sea. And I'm inviting you to come to our world underneath the beautiful stars of the desert.
And again, thank you for your time and have a good day. It's like almost 11 p.m. in Poland.
Oh my God. And you're a dad. So where can we see this interview? Or I mean, are you gonna post it? Is it gonna be on? I mean,
Yeah, I'm gonna translate it and publish it as an article and probably put it on YouTube as a video.
okay, great. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you. It's so nice to meet you too.
Likewise.
It's so nice to meet you. Really, really. Thank you so much for listening and being supportive, and we really appreciate it, really.
And how do you pronounce your name and surname?
Sh Sharon,
Sharon with the
Sharon, Eliashar.
Eliashar. Sharon Eliashar.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be
Okay.
great. Yeah, I mean if you give me a link to it, I can post it on Facebook like in Polish and then do a little campaign to Poland.
Yeah, I
On
will.
Facebook, and then people click on it and see the interview or whatever, see
Yeah,
the.
we're gonna be in touch because I will need some photos. I saw some photos on the Facebook that are very very nice. So I will probably need something to put
Okay.
on the article.
Okay. Okay, great. Do you have any pathways to performing in Poland that we might want to know about?
Well, there are some few festivals in Poland that may be interesting in something like that, but I will need to think about, and I will write to you via Facebook. I have the
Okay. Yeah, or email, yeah. So
yeah.
great, great. Well, thank you so much, and it was a pleasure, and I look forward to the next time.
Have a great day.
You too. Okay, bye.
Thanks. Bye.